Have you ever sat in stillness, watching life pass by, only realize the train you were waiting for has already begun to move? This new moon in Taurus is that moment. It is not asking for you to rush, but it is asking for you to choose. What are you holding on to? And what are you finally ready to leave behind for good? Welcome to this special Taurus New Moon episode. I am Genevieve Cheung, your Galactic Astrologer and Mystic Guide. In this deep dive, I will guide you through one of the most important lunations of the year, connecting eclipse cycles, long-term karmic patterns, and 12-sign insight to help you truly understand what's unfolding in your life. Whether you are new to astrology or you have been walking with the stars for decades, this episode will leave you with clarity, empowerment, and grounded direction. Let us begin now in this sacred conversation. This new moon is not just another new moon. It is accumulation of 3 major eclipse cycles from 2022 to 2025, and the start of a deep reset in our life. We will cover Mars and Pluto tensions and personal power shift, Venus, Saturn, North Node, karma, and soul work. I have already done a previous episode regarding Mars and Pluto. I will leave the link below. We should watch out for the date, April 27 of this new moon, of course, and January 26th and October 26th in 2026. Come with me now and discover what's unfolding in your chart. Book a reading if it resonates. Link below to GenevieveCheung.com. Thank you. And so we will talk about the key transit and aspect shaping this new moon and what they actually mean for you spiritually and practically. A timeline of past and future lunar cycles that connect this lunation to broader life chapters. And finally, we will go sign by sign so you can reflect on how it may affect you personally. And I would advise you to listen to your sun, moon, or rising sign. Before we begin, remember, astrology is not about prediction. It is about participation. The sky may offer signs, but you are the only one that hold the meaning. And this new moon happened on the 27th of April at 7 degrees of Taurus. And this new moon connects multiple cycles that we have already been walking through for quite some times. This is a 3-year lunar cycle that started with Taurus solar eclipse on April 30th in 2022. And today, we have a culmination cycle that peaked at Taurus from October 28th, 2023 Lunar eclipses are full moons on steroids. They bring revelations, emotional intensity, and often closure. That eclipse heightened what have ripened or reached saturation in your Taurus rule area of life. It might have revealed where you were still clinging to outdated form of safety or resisting the call to change. Something likely come to light that show you what was no longer sustainable. This Taurus New Moon, 6 months later, invites you to consciously release that weight and begin again on a new soil. So what we are experiencing now isn't just a new beginning. It is also a release, a karmic closure. Something you have carried over time is reaching the end. Let's break it down. First, Mars in Leo, opposite Pluto in Aquarius. This is exact on April 26th, just one day before the new moon. But the tension is active all week long. Mars is our willpower, drive, and how we assert ourselves. While Pluto is very deep, it is about hidden power, a psychological patterns, subconscious fears, or collective control mechanism. When these two oppose, we are pulled between our personal will and the collective reality. This might manifest as power struggle, rebellion, or feeling like your actions are being controlled by unseen forces. As you can see from the chart, we have the Sun, Moon, and Mars all at 1 degree of fixed sign early this week. That was the third quarter moon on April 21st. Think of this as a final turning point before the new moon. Fixed sign Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, they resist change. But this alignment demands it. If you felt itchy, stuck, or strangely motivated to act, this was the configuration asking you to wake up. And now let us look at Venus conjunct Saturn and the North Node in Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces, meaning she expresses her energy at her highest capacity here, with love, beauty, spirituality, and compassion. With Saturn brings in commitment, seriousness, and karmic consequences. So the North Node represents where we are headed, both collectively and personally. When all three of them come together, we are being asked to elevate what we love and commit to it, even when it is uncomfortable. This is once in a lifetime aspect. It may feel gentle, but it is deeply transformative. And we have Mercury conjunct Neptune in Aries. Mercury rules our thought, words, and communication. Neptune rules dreams, intuition, and illusions. This conjunction brings vision, but it also brings fog. Don't believe everything you hear, and be careful what you say, because words can either enchant or deceive. And of course, Uranus is sextiling Venus, Saturn, and North Node. Uranus is the planet of awakening. In Taurus, it has been disrupting what we consider secure or comfortable since 2018. This sextile supports change, but encourages it through awareness and inspiration, not force. You may suddenly realize what needs to shift, but only if you are listening carefully. And of course, we have to look at Black Moon Lilith in the Grand Cross. Lilith represents what we suppress, what we feel unseen or unacceptable. In a Grand Cross configuration with Mars, Pluto, and the new moon, this energy becomes a pressure point. Suppressed anger or rejection may surface, but it is not here to destroy. We need to know how to use it to liberate this anger. And so this new moon in Taurus is a sign associated with the earth embodiment, simplicity, beauty, and security. But with so much dynamic energy activating it, Taurus is anything but calm right now. We are being asked to know, what do you truly value? Where are you clinging to comfort out of fear? What would it mean to root your sense of safety inside yourself, not in things or people? Venus, the ruler of Taurus, is offering us a deeply spiritual alternatives to consumerism and control. Instead of grasping, we are being shown how to offer, to give, to serve, to anchor beauty in a chaotic world. Just remember, exaltation doesn't mean easy. It means potential. And this potential only activates when we show up in full integrity. To help us to understand better this new moon, we should look back 2 of the past Taurus solar eclipses. The first one was in 2022, April the 30th. This eclipse planted the seed. It marked the beginning of a new 3-year cycle in Taurus. Solar eclipses happen when the moon passes between the earth and the sun, temporarily blocking the sun's light, symbolically marking a reset. In Taurus, this reset was deeply rooted in themes of survival, stability, and embodiment. It initiates changes in our relationships to money, food, values, and, of course, our physical bodies. Collectively, it asks, what do we really need to feel safe and whole? So for many, it planted the seed of a shift in lifestyles, finances, or physical well-being, even if those changes were not obvious at that time. But it might have brought a new relationship, a new job, investment, or a slow burning desire to change how you live on earth. Taurus always works slowly, but with lasting power. This eclipse set the tone for the material and spiritual transformations now is ripening under this new moon. The second lunar eclipse of Taurus that I want to look at, it was in October 28, 2023. The lunar eclipse is a turbocharged full moon, and it was in Taurus, illuminated the fruits or the consequences of what began in April 2022. This was not a comfortable lunation. Lunar eclipses often bring emotional clarity, but also about endings. It showed us where we were still grasping for false security, where comfort had calcified into stagnation, and when we had become too attached to the physical or the familiar. So this Taurus lunar eclipse might have brought financial realizations, relationship awakenings, or even literal losses of jobs, homes, or illusions. It revealed where we were clinging, not trusting. And with Uranus active in Taurus at the same time, many of these changes come as a shock or unexpected turns. Every unraveling was also an invitation to realign with what truly matters. It cleared the path for this April 2025 new moon to root new values in more fertile, soulful ground. As I said before, we have two dates in 2026 to look out. The first one is January 2026. We would have the first quarter moon at 6 degrees in Taurus. That would be the turning point. And in October 26th, we would have Taurus full moon. That would be the culmination. So we will talk about that when we closer to those dates. But what begins now will continue developing until late 2026. It is not a quick fix. It is a long path of reclamation and refinement. My final thought for this moment is a potent contrast. The fire of Mars, Mercury in Aries, the earth in Taurus, water with Venus in Pisces, and air, Pluto in Aquarius. They are all activated. You might feel pulled in multiple directions. The desire to act, the need to ground, the call to dream, and the pressure to transform. So it is okay to feel stretched and overwhelmed. The key is not to rush, but to root, to pause, and to listen to the deeper wisdom emerging from within you. The new moon is calling you to let go, not just of things, but of ideas that no longer serve. You don't need to be certain. You only need to be present. So now in the next segment, we will begin our sign-by-sign reflections, starting with Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. In the meantime, breathe and consider, what are you ready to release in order to begin again? For the lovely Aries, your sun, moon, or rising. For you, the Taurus New Moon activates your second house of money, possessions, self-worth, and survival need. It is not just about income, but also about relationship you have with what sustains you. It is asking, what do you value? And do you value yourself enough to protect and grow what truly matters? This new moon is part of a cycle that begins with the solar eclipse on March 29, 2025, which took place in your sign. That eclipse seeded something new around personal identity and independence. But now, the focus shifts to what supports that identity, your material foundation. Looking back further to April 30th, 2022 solar eclipse in Taurus. At that time, you may have felt a call to change your relationship to money, to stabilize your physical life, or to rethink what truly makes you feel safe. That might have been the start of a business, a new job, or a deep reassessment of your spending habits and values. By 2023, October 28th, the lunar eclipse in Taurus again, any illusions around finance or self-worth were likely exposed. If you experienced unexpected expenses, shift in income, or crisis of confidence, they were part of a larger arc meant to help you mature your value systems. In this new moon, it helps you to release the financial layers of false security and plant new seeds of abundance, ones based on inner confidence, not external validations. The Mars-Pluto opposition spans your 5th and 11th houses, stirring tensions between personal expression and your place in the collectives. Are you asserting your voice enough in ground dynamics, or over-identifying with the crowd? Venus, exalted in Pisces and moving through your 12th house, is calling you inward. With Saturn and North Node there together, that is a sacred time for spiritual realignment. Your soul is learning to trust the invisible, the realm of dreams, intuition, and karmic purpose. Release what no longer serves. Anchor into your own truth. For the lovely Taurus, this is your new moon. It takes place in your first house of identity, body, and life direction, and it carries the full karmic weight of the last 3 years. Back in April 2022, The solar eclipse in your sign planted the seed of personal reinvention. Whether you choose it or not, something within you begin to shift. Maybe you changed your appearance, your career, or lifestyles. That eclipse asks, who are you becoming? By the time of October 28th, 2023 lunar eclipse, something cracked open. That eclipse was also in your sign, bringing a moment of emotional intensity or public revelation. A truth may have surfaced around how others see you versus who you truly are. Perhaps a personal relationship reached a breaking point, or you outgrow an identity you once worked so hard to build. But in March 29th this year, the eclipse helped set the tone internally, like bringing a sense of solitude, spiritual cleansing, or a deep emotional reset. Now with Taurus New Moon, you are invited to claim the new version of you, not the personal others want you to be. Remember, the one your soul come here to embody. The Mars-Pluto opposition activates your 4th and 10th houses, stirring tension between home and career. You may feel like your public life is shifting while your private foundation is being restructured. Let go of outdated definitions of success. Meanwhile, Venus, Saturn, and North Node in Pisces is blessing you, your 11th house of future vision, social contribution, and kindred community. What does your next chapter look like? Who are the allies walking with you? It is time to get serious about your dreams and the people who share them. For the lovely Gemini, this Taurus New Moon lands in your 12th house, a deeply spiritual and hidden realms. This is the area of life associated with endings, retreat, the unconscious, and karmic residual. It is the house of what you carry behind the scenes and what you are finally ready to surrender. On March 29, 2025 eclipse, it took place in your 11th house, seeding new ideas around community, network, and the vision you hold for your future. But before that vision will flourish, something behind the curtain must be released. If you think back in April 2022, the solar eclipse, it was in the 12th house, likely begin a process of letting go. Maybe a chapter ended in your life, a relationship, a living situation, or even a psychological pattern. It may have felt quiet, but it was profound. By October 2023, the lunar eclipse made that process even louder. You may have experienced fatigue, emotional overwhelm, or a sudden realization that you have outgrown something, even if you didn't know what would replace it. Now, this new moon offers you a fresh start, not through doing, but through undoing, through forgiveness, silence, rest, and healing. This is a beautiful time to retreat, to reflect, and reset before your birthday season in just a few weeks. The Mars-Pluto opposition lights up your 3rd and 9th houses. Your mind and your beliefs expect tension between your inner dialogue and your broader worldview. Be mindful of what you consume mentally. This is a time to deepen, not scatter, your focus. Venus, Saturn, and North Node are moving through your 10th house of career and public life. Something karmic is unfolding here. A major decision, commitment, or invitation to align your work with your spiritual purpose. Success now is less about status. It is about your soul. For the lovely Cancer, this Taurus New Moon lights up your 11th house of community, vision, and the future you are building. This is where dreams are seated, not just for yourself, but shared among friends and soul family. What kind of world do you want to live in? And who do you want beside you as it unfolds? Back in April 2022, the Taurus solar eclipse might have brought new connections, ideas, or a budding sense of belonging to a group or cause. You might have entered a new social environment or started dreaming bigger, but perhaps didn't have the full clarity yet on how it would evolve. By October 2023, the lunar eclipse in Taurus, the gap between your vision and reality may have become undeniable. Maybe you felt isolated, disillusioned by certain communities, or reached a crisis point about whether your goals still aligned with your heart. Now, with this Taurus New Moon, you are planting new seeds for long-term dreams that are built for both vision and discernment. Choose your companions wisely. Your future is too important to build with those who don't truly resonate with you. The March 29, 2025 eclipse in your 10th house may have already shifted how you show up in the world professionally. Now the question is, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? The Mars-Pluto opposition activates your 2nd and 8th houses. It is about resources, intimacy, and power. You might feel pressure around finance, inheritance, or share agreement. It is time to reclaim your value without depending on others to validate or to sustain it. With Venus, Saturn, and the North Node in your 9th house are calling you into deeper spiritual alignment. What do you believe? And are your choices reflecting those beliefs? Commit to a path that uplifts and stretches your faith. To the lovely Leo, this new moon lands at the very top of your chart, your 10th house of career, life, direction, and public visibility. If you have felt unclear or stalled in your professional path, this is your cosmic cue to reset. A new chapter of leadership or recognition is forming. Think back to 2022 April. What were you dreaming of then? Did you change jobs, begin a new project, or feel a shift in how others see you? That solar eclipse opens the gate, but the full picture likely hadn't formed yet. By October 2023, during the lunar eclipse, you might have encountered a public turning point, perhaps a professional shakeup, a moment of decision, or a feeling that your reputation or ambitions were being tested. Now, with this Taurus New Moon, you get to choose your legacy, not the version of success handed to you, but the one aligned with your soul. And the March 2025 eclipse in your 9th house likely stir your hunger for meaning, perhaps through travel, study, or spiritual inquiry. Now you are being asked to apply that meaning in a tangible way. The Mars-Pluto opposition falls directly across your 1st and 7th houses, bringing themes of relationship tension, self-assertion, and projection. What are you taking on too much or not enough in relationships? With Venus, Saturn, and the North Node in your 8th house, they are not subtle. They are asking you to go deep into the theme of intimacy, trust, shared power, and perhaps financial entanglement. This is a karmic territory. You are not meant to go it alone, but you must choose your energetic partners very carefully. To my lovely Virgo, this Taurus New Moon falls in your 9th house of higher wisdom, philosophy, publishing, teaching, and long-distance journey. For you, this is about expanding beyond your current framework. You have outgrown some beliefs or worldview, and now it is time to rise to something higher. Back in April 2022, you might have started to explore new truths regarding spiritual, intellectual, or cultural. Perhaps you enrolled in a course, planned to travel, or began questioning the path you were raised on. And in 2023 October lunar eclipse, clarity likely comes through contrast. Maybe a worldview collapsed, or you realize your purpose needs to evolve. For some, Legal matters or educational choices may have service. Now, this new moon is helping you to reimagine your purpose, rooted not in perfection, but in alignment. The March this year eclipse in your 8th house may have unearthed deep psychological or emotional process, especially tied to intimacy or shared resources. Now you are invited to rise from the underworld with renewed clarity. The Mars-Pluto opposition hits your 12th and 6th houses, awakening the axis of rest and labor, spirit and service. Burnout is possible. You need to honor your limits and reconstruct your daily routine. With Venus, Saturn, and the North Node are blessing your 7th house of partnerships. This may be a sacred commitment, a karmic lesson, or a chance to deepen intimacy with someone truly aligned. Long-term collaborations, whether it is romantic or business, are being seeded now. To my lovely Libra, this Taurus New Moon takes place in your 8th house of shared resources, intimacy, and transformation. This is the house of death, the underworld, the thing we don't talk about at dinner, but which shaped our inner reality. Death, sex, inheritance, debt, psychological power. Back in 2020 April, a new cycle began there. You may have entered into a new financial agreement, begun a serious relationship, or facing something raw and honest about your emotional dependencies. That eclipse asks, what are you ready to share, surrender, or heal? By October 2023, the lunar eclipse, the discomfort of these changes likely peaked. Perhaps you realize you have overextended your trust or needs to renegotiate a power dynamic in your personal or financial life. The shadow come to light. Now this new moon is helping you to reclaim your power, not through control, but through clarity. You can step into deeper intimacy and commitment, but only by honoring your own sovereignty. This year March solar eclipse in your 7th house of relationships may have brought shift in key partnerships. Now you are integrating what you have learned by redefining emotional contracts and trusts. The Mars-Pluto opposition activates your 11th house and 5th house, stirring friction between your future dreams and your need for authentic self-expression. Are you compromising your joy to fit into a crowd? With Venus, Saturn, and North Node are grounding your 6th house of daily life, health, and service. This is about sacred structure, bringing discipline to your routines and building a life that nourishes your body, mind, and soul. To the lovely Scorpio, the Taurus New Moon falls in your 7th house of relationships, contracts, and one-on-one dynamic. This is your opposite sign, your cosmic mirror. And right now, the reflection is powerful. In 2022 April, the solar eclipse likely initiated a new relational themes of meeting, of separation, or a new contract of intimacy of business. That was the beginning of a deeper story about how you relate and what you require in return. By October, the year after 2023, the Taurus lunar eclipse made the emotional stakes clear. You might have had to face imbalances in power, boundaries, or unmet needs. Something might have culminated or ended, preparing you for what must come next. This new moon marks a new relationship cycle, either in love, collaboration, or your attitude toward connection. Are your current dynamics truly reciprocal? Do they support your transformation or keep you in survival mode? This year, March 29th, in your 6th house, may have shaken your work-life patterns, prompting greater awareness of stress, burnout, or your capacity to serve others. Now you are ready to balance healing with the relational mirror. Mars-Pluto across your 10th and 4th house point to home career tension. Perhaps your ambitions are clashing with emotional needs, or family dynamic are being stirred as you rise into a new level of visibility or leadership. With Venus, Saturn, and North Node in Pisces are nourishing your 5th house. Love, children, and creativity. You are being asked to honor what brings joy, not just duty. Romance may deepen now. All creative projects gain long-term traction. For the lovely Sagittarius, the Taurus New Moon activates your 6th house of daily rhythms, health, and sacred service. This is about how you show up every day for yourself and others. It is the realm of embodiment, habit, healing, and the humble magic of consistency. In 2022 April, the solar eclipse here have initiated a new job, a change in your health, or an awareness that your lifestyle needed to shift. But perhaps it felt subtle or slow to evolve. By 2023 October, that tensions peaked. If your body spoke loudly then, or your work became unsustainable, it was asking for realignment. Now with this new moon, you are being offered a reset. This is your chance to reorient your time, energy, and attention. How you live is how you serve. This year, in March 29, in your 5th house, stir creative longing and perhaps invited a new relationship, project, or desire to reclaim joy. Now you are finding the systems that can support that joy sustainably. The Mars-Pluto opposition activates your 9th and 3rd houses, your belief systems and daily mindset. Are you thinking too small for your soul, or taking a big game without action? Integrate vision with practice. With Venus, Saturn, and the North Node in your 4th house, rooting you in a more authentic emotional home. This could mean a literal move, family work, or defining what safety really means for you. Long-term foundations are being laid. For the lovely Capricorn, this Taurus New Moon activates your 5th house of creativity, joy, romance, and children. It is a reminder that you are allowed to create beauty and pleasure for its own sake. Not everything must serve a purpose. What would it feel like to express without pressure, love without fear, and play without guilt? In 2022, April eclipse may have initiated changes in your romantic life, artistic pursuits, or relationship with your inner child. It may have invited new creative projects or brought children into focus, literally or symbolically. On 2023 October, the lunar eclipse revealed what in this area has matured or fallen out of alignment. Did a romance reach a turning point? Were you called to step more fully into a role of artistic or emotional leadership? Now, this new moon invites you to reclaim joy, to plant seeds not for strategy but for love. It is okay to not have the next 10 steps figured out. Your soul knows how to dance forward. This year on March 29th, your 4th house may have shaken your sense of home, family, or belonging. Now you are rediscovering the light through creative expression. Mars and Pluto are pressuring your 2nd and 8th houses, highlighting issues of income versus shared resources. It is time to assess where your power is entangled with others' expectations. With Venus, Saturn, and the North Node in your 3rd house, support serious communication, writing, and learning. Your words have weight now. Use them intentionally, whether to teach, write, or to renegotiate. To the lovely Aquarius, this Taurus New Moon lands in your 4th house of home, roots, family, and inner security. It is your invitation to ground, to listen to the whisper beneath your feet and ask, where do I belong? And how do I build from here onward? Back in April 2022, the solar eclipse may have brought shift to your living situation, family structure, or emotional base. It began a deeper inquiry into your ancestral story and personal foundation. By October 2023, the lunar eclipse asks you to release what no longer supported your growth. Perhaps a move, a family pattern, or a belief about safety that had expired. Now the new moon invites a new root system. What kind of home supports your next becoming? Whether literal or emotional, this is about cultivating sanctuary for you. On March 29th this year, the eclipse in your third house likely shifts your mental landscape, communications, or sibling relationships. Now you are integrating those insights into your foundation. With Mars-Pluto activate your first and seventh houses, your identity versus relationships. Are you compromising your individuality to maintain peace, or ignoring relational lessons that want your attention? Remember, Venus, Saturn, and the North Node, they are in your second house, helping you clarify your values and rebuild financial sovereignty. What do you really need to feel safe and self-possessed? For the lovely Pisces, the Taurus New Moon blesses your third house of communication, mindset, and everyday life. This is where thoughts become patterns, words become spells, and small shifts ripple into large consequences. What are you telling yourself? And if it is true? In 2022 April, the eclipse may have begun a shift in your daily habits, relationships with siblings or neighbors, or a call to express yourself more courageously. By October 2023, the lunar eclipse likely brought revelations around your voice, your schedule, or how you mentally process the world. You might have realized what conversations were no longer nourishing, or what skills need to be reclaimed. Now this new moon helps you reset your mental field. What are the words and beliefs you are ready to plant? This year, March 29, in your second house likely stirred issues around self-worth and finance. You are learning that your thought must align with your value in order to create lasting change. The Mars-Pluto opposition play out between your 6th and 12th houses. It is work and rest, surface and spirit. Be cautious of overwork or self-sabotage. Integration and balance are key. And Venus, Saturn, the North Node are all in your first house, amplifying your spiritual authority and karmic calling. You are stepping into a long-term transformation of identity. This is your moment to embody everything you have been healing. If you have made it to the end of this deep journey, thank you. This Taurus New Moon is not only asking us to change, but to participate consciously in that change. Whether you are walking through a threshold, releasing an identity, or ready to claim a more rooted life, it is time to pause and ask, what is truly worthy of your attention? your time, and your heart. If this podcast spoke to something real in you, if it stirred memories or make your path feel more visible, this is the perfect time to go deeper. Your chart is a living mirror of your soul's timing. Booking a personal sessions allow us to map your specific transit, karmic storylines, and upcoming windows of change. Please visit my website, GenevieveCheung.com, to book your one-on-one astrology reading. Let us explore what is unfolding for you, not just collectively, but intimately, just for you. With deep gratitude, from my heart to yours, Genevieve.